Police in the Bronx are investigating what appears to be a botched robbery that ended with the suspect dead.
Investigators say the 23-year-old man was trying to rob the store when an employee inside pulled out a gun, shooting and killing the suspect. The whole thing caught on surveillance video.
Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Cohen has the latest from the Mount Hope section of the Bronx.
Police are questioning the person who was working here at the time and investigating whether he shot and killed a robber. Detectives have access to surveillance video from the store to see what went down. We obtained video from another building meant to show you the time. A camera rolling just after midnight caught the final moments of this young man's life. You can see him walking up to the store, stopping, touching his pockets, looking around, adjusting his mask, then going in, reaching into his jacket while opening the door. We're going to show you this video in real time. Exactly 7 seconds after he walks in, he is shot. The door flies open and another young man nearly trips over the shooting victim on the ground, stumbles out of the store, looking shaken by what just happened. We don't know if he was a witness or the person working at the store who pulled the trigger, but he doesn't leave right away. Paramedics arrive a few minutes later, unable to revive the 23-year-old wounded man who was pronounced dead at the scene.
Your face! Show your face, please! With sugar on top!
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're able to be a little more explicit, a little more uncensored, and share content freely without running the risk of having our channel terminated. So, once again, make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers, so if you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. Now let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, today we have a very interesting story coming straight out of New York, where there is a lot of mixed emotions on whether the arrest of a weed shop employee was justified or not. This comes after a robbery attempt by a young man who tried to rob the weed shop located in the Bronx during late hours, but was unsuccessful after he was shot point blank range in the back of his head. As y'all know, there's been a major influx of weed shops that could be found on almost every block after a certain amount of marijuana has been deemed legal in New York. However, with the opening of all these shops come drama and controversy between the shop employees and the neighborhood residents that have been there all their lives. It's usually one or two things. One, you have older residents complaining that the weed shops have brought a bunch of traffic into the neighborhood and invited a certain type of crowd that they don't particularly agree with, being that a gathering can cause loud noise, double parking on top of other traffic violations, and even sometimes fights. The fighting part is what will lead us to our second concept, where most of the drug dealers that have been in that community feel that the weed shops are taking over their territory as they're experiencing a loss of customers. Which will make more sense because now, instead of risking your freedom and buying from someone who isn't permitted to sell, you could now just casually walk into a store where they have a huge selection of flavors and pick what you want comfortably without having to risk your safety. So those are the biggest factors when it comes to a weed shop being placed in the neighborhood, but the ultimate one is the robbers. Although most weed shops are guarded by bulletproof glass all around in the inside, it still don't stop desperate robbers from trying their luck and score big on a weed shop. Now these weed shops have a big target, being that most of them stay open very late, some even 24 hours when there's no one outside, so that's usually when the robbers will see the perfect opportunity to take a shot at some quick cash from these shops. Not only that, but 18 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana and 37 allow its medical use, but however, it remains illegal under federal law. And because of that, big banks and credit card companies don't associate themselves with the industry, so they pretty much fend for themselves when it comes to handling the cash because that's all they can rely on so robbers often expect weed shops to be very heavy on cash at the end of the night.
This afternoon, Bodega and Small Business Group founder Francisco Marte stopped by, saying neighborhood shops like this are in danger, especially if they're selling cannabis products, which are supposed to be cash purchases.
They are being targeted by the criminals because they know they have monies, or they have stuff that they can resell it and make money.
Smoke shop robberies in New York City went up more than 4 times between the first and second years of cannabis legalization in New York State back in 2021. NYPD Chief of Patrol John Chell believes a lot of this also has to do with unlicensed shops selling unlicensed marijuana and tobacco products. Statistics show that in 2021, when it was first legalized, it was 137 robberies involving smoke shops alone, and in 2022, there was over 593 robberies stemming from smoke shops alone, resulting in $1.5 million in cash totally stolen as a result. So with all that being said, and now you know the dangers of the smoke shops and them being unlicensed, as I explain what's going on throughout the video, you understand why all that information is prevalent. Now let's get into the incident that took place in the Bronx involving a 23-year-old man that lost his life after attempting to rob a weed shop on Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. Now, an employee of an unlicensed weed shop / convenience store on East Tremont Avenue shot 23-year-old Romel Carey from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania in the head at around 12:20 a.m. The 26-year-old employee, Fayraz Al-Hazmi, would claim that the killing was out of self-defense after Carey would try to rob the weed shop 2 times in one day. When police arrived to the scene, all they would see is the 23-year-old lay unconscious on the floor, which he would be pronounced deceased on the scene. Now, upon investigation, the employee would tell police that he shot the would-be robber out of self-defense, but that part would be questionable as there's different takes about what actually led to the shooting. It would be the employee's word against the deceased victims, but unfortunately, the victim can't defend himself, so all the cops have is the employee's story until a more thorough investigation is done. Now, the story NYPD was told is that the victim would walk into the Top Shelf shop located on East Tremont Avenue at 11:40 p.m. with a firearm, demanding all the weed. One news article states that the shop employee flashed his firearm, which prompted the victim to leave the first time. The victim would return back to the store about 40 minutes later and became more aggressive, where witnesses claim that the victim demanded the employee to, quote, empty the register and give me everything you got. They said it was at that time the employee would pull out a pistol, and as the victim turned to run away, the employee shot him in the back of his head. Now, a witness told police that after the victim was shot, another man would run in the store and grab the gun that the victim had and then ran back out the store. That man hasn't been identified and he hasn't been caught. As of Wednesday, there was no charges against the employee, but the next day, November 9th, 2023, as the investigation was underway, police searched the employee's house and found the 9mm Glock that was used to shoot the victim. At first, the employee wouldn't be charged with the killing of the victim. However, he would be charged for the illegal weapon, hitting him with a criminal possession of a firearm. Now, the relatives of the victim are in disbelief, being that the employee would escape charges of the homicide and only be charged with the weapon. The victim's uncle don't believe that his nephew was robbing the store, expressing that his nephew wasn't like that. The 29-year-old uncle, William Hart, would say, quote, I have never known him doing anything like that. He gets angry and stuff, but my nephew would not do it. Anything like that, I'm still processing the news. He was just 23, just a little younger than me. He did not deserve to go too soon. The victim's father would say something similar, as he recalled getting a call at 5 a.m. in the morning to alert him of his son's passing by police officers. The father would say, quote, they are saying that the owner shot him and supposedly they had an eyewitness that said he was robbing the place. I don't know how much of it is true. I don't know why he came to New York City. I saw him Monday. My son wasn't involved in all this. I have nothing else to say right now until I get more from the detectives. Now, the 23-year-old victim leaves behind a 1-year-old child and the investigation is ongoing. Now, I'm assuming due to the victim having a firearm, the Bronx District Attorney's Office deemed this to be a justifiable homicide. And that's understandable because there's no telling what someone would do with a firearm, so you're either going to have to react quick or risk being killed yourself. However, the victim was shot in the back of the head, which means that he was trying to leave. And I wasn't there, but judging from my experiences and from what I've seen personally in situations like this, the employee became trigger happy because they feel that no matter how small the crime being committed is, it's an excuse to be able to shoot someone because they feel they can get away with it because they feel that they could say it was self-defense. You know, despite the guy trying to run away, he had a weapon, so if I shoot him, I could just say it was self-defense. But my question is, if he had a gun trying to rob the store the first time, then why wasn't the cops called the first time? Unless he purposely wanted to take matters into his own hands because he knows he had a weapon as well. But if I had a store and someone came in there trying to rob me, I would call the cops to protect not only me, but my store the first time. It wouldn't be no second time. But I did find it a little weird that he didn't call the cops the first time the guy came in there with a supposedly gun. It just don't make sense to me, and I know usually if that happens to anybody, they're quick to call the cops. That's just, you know, first-hand nature if you have a store to protect, or even yourself, your own life. Now, an article states that judging how the victim was shot and where he was shot at, they determined that it was self-defense. But if they seen the surveillance like they said they did, and the man was running out of the store and was shot in the back of the head, where does the self-defense part come in at? You know, yes, he has a weapon, but it's not like he shot him from the front or during a scuffle or a struggle or something. He was shot from behind trying to leave the store. So what was the employee really defending himself against? You know, his back? You know, I don't get it, man. But here's what the employee's cousin had to say about the whole situation. He also runs a bodega that's next to the shop, and that's another thing that kind of concerns me because they explain that they never seen this guy before. He's new around there. So they all have a close-knit relationship with each other. His cousin is not too far. I'm pretty sure they're familiar with the neighborhood. So nobody would have trouble lying for each other against somebody that they don't even know. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, let's check out what the cousin had to say about what happened. Y'all check this clip out right here. Now, first,
Kasim is related to the smoke shop employee. He tells Pix 11 News it was self-defense, that the 23-year-old threatened the employee.
And he came the first time he robbed him.
That was just after midnight Tuesday, but then about 40 minutes later, Kasim says the 23-year-old came back. That's when you see him here.
And he came and you want to kill him. He told him, I'm coming back to kill you.
First and foremost, I hope they don't expect somebody's cousin to tell on, you know, their other cousin. Because at the end of the day, he's not going to make his cousin look guilty in any way. You know, he's not going to sit there and say on national TV, hey, yeah, my cousin killed him and it wasn't self-defense and, you know, he's guilty. They're not going to say that. So I don't know what the point in interviewing him was. If anything, that's probably a conflict of interest, you know, at its finest. But here's the part that don't make sense to me, man. If he came in the first time brandishing a weapon and all the employee did was show his weapon off and didn't shoot the first time, but the second time when the guy came in, he was actually running away, he decided to shoot, it don't make sense. You know, why didn't he shoot the first time? And I have a hard time believing that the victim will return right after the employee flashed his weapon the first time to do the same thing he did the first time, but then run away again the second time, as if he didn't already know that the man had a firearm. You see what I'm saying? Something just doesn't sound right. And the witness said that a man ran into the store, some mysterious man ran into the store after the shooting to collect the other man's gun, the victim. But if you look at the surveillance video that was shown on the news, we didn't see anybody run into the store, you know? And at the end of the day, if he did, we would see the person on camera because that would mean that they was pretty much together. You know, we would see him outside of the store, but we only seen one guy. And after he was shot, we seen a man stumbling out of the store, and that was it. We didn't see anybody run back in. So who knows, man? Was there really a witness? And if there really was a witness there, is he telling the truth about what he saw? Or is he cool with the employee and he just trying to cover the tracks of the employee so he don't look guilty? You know, like, which one is it, man? But who do you know that would run into the store where shots were fired just to go to retrieve a weapon? You know, you don't know where the shots is coming from, but you want to put yourself in danger? Something's not making sense. Maybe he didn't have a weapon at all and they just saying that to justify the shooting. Because yes, we see him pat his pockets like the news mentioned, but we didn't see no weapon at no point in time on surveillance. No weapon was recovered neither. Possession is 9/10 of the law. So if it was one bullet casing on the scene and no other firearm was retrieved belonging to the victim, and you don't have the person who allegedly took it, and you don't have no pictures or video of the weapon, they might have to do more investigation, because it's looking like the gun story is all BS. That's what it's looking like. And I hope the victim's family push for that, because it's not about he say, she say in court. It's about what you can prove and what you can't prove. And right now, we can't prove that the victim had a firearm. So at this very moment, it just seems like the employee was trigger happy and shot this man. Maybe he did feel scared. Maybe he shot the man out of fear, but that's not protocol. You're not supposed, that's not how things work. You know? And I don't know about y'all, man, but some just don't seem right with me. And another red flag is that the weed shop was unlicensed and he had an illegal weapon inside. So some may feel, well, it's an unlicensed store that shouldn't be running and operating anyway. So if the store was never there in the first place illegally, none of this would even happen in the first place. You know, so that's another point that the family could argue. I know they're very upset that the man is only being charged with the weapon, in which he's probably only get 3 years, if that. If he don't have a background, then 9 times out of 10, he's not going to get no time for it. He's just going to get probation, stay out of trouble for, what, 2 years, 3 years, or probably less than that. But like I said, if he do receive any jail time out of 3 years, he probably just do a year. So it's a very unfortunate situation, and I also think it's a lot of holes in this story. I'm not saying the victim didn't have a weapon, right? But the proof and evidence that they're relying on to justify that he did, it's not holding up. And judging from surveillance, it's not looking accurate neither. Now, we haven't been shown the surveillance footage from inside the weed shop, and we don't know if they even have it, because, you know, the guy could say, well, we didn't have the cameras on that day, or whatever the case may be. So I don't know if maybe that camera shows the man with a weapon, but if it did, I'm sure it would have been mentioned in one of these articles, but they aren't. And I don't know about y'all, but to shoot someone that's trying to run away in the back of the head, it seems a bit personal. Because if his back is turned and it was really self-defense, your initial reaction is to just shoot, not aim for his head, not none of that. But they said it was one shell casing, only one shell casing on the scene. So either this 26-year-old weed shop worker is a sharp shooter straight out the military, or something just isn't adding up. You see what I'm saying? One clean shot in the back of the head as the man was trying to run, your aim is that good? Well, he must be in the wrong profession. You know, he should be a CIA agent or a 007 or a Navy SEAL or something. Who knows? But this is a very interesting topic, and I really wanted to mainly talk about it because I feel it was a lot of holes in the story. And if maybe it's someone out there that feel the same, or even if you don't and you feel it was justified, I want to hear about that too. All right, however it goes, rest in peace to Romel Carey Jr. My condolences go to his family. And y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments, man. Do y'all think the shooting was justified? Or do y'all think the employee is bluffing and there's more to the story than he's telling us? All right, I also want to see the camera footage from inside. I think that'll tell us everything we need to know. Because the footage that we've seen from outside, it don't do no justice to the story that we're being told. That's just me. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know how y'all feel about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.